Welcome aboard our Battleships podcast. This is a podcast analyzing anime relationships, whether they be canon or one the fans enjoy. Please be aware that our battleships are equipped with state-of-the-art weapons designed to leave no ships behind. If there is a ship that you hold dear to your heart, there's a possibility we don't. We are not aiming our cannons at you personally and mean no harm by sharing our opinions with you. We are simply anime fans talking about ships we either love or hate. This is not an informative podcast, so don't take anything we say as gospel. Keep in mind, our sails are painted in the blood of many spoils of war, displaying everything beginning to end. If you haven't seen the anime, we will reveal many of the exciting details to you, so you have been alerted. Again, this is your spoiler warning. Thank you for listening. I will now hand the wheel over to our captains.
Welcome to Battleships, Shipped or Sunk. We're anime fans discussing anime ships that we love or hate and come to a final decision. Do we ship the pairing or do we sink it with our cannons? Hello, my name is Zephyra and Calcifer is my spirit demon.
I am a big and scary fire demon.
Rawr!
Rawr! Here's another curse. May all your bacon burn.
Best line in the entire movie.
My name is Juno, and actually my first Studio Ghibli movie was Spirited Away.
Oh, okay.
Same here.
My first was this one, Howl's Moving Castle, so...
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a good one to start out with, though.
I think so. I mean, it was one of the very first anime I've ever seen, too, so...
Yeah, even better.
Yeah. Oh, my name's Kaylee, and I'm the ace that somehow came up with this romance podcast.
We will be starting our episode off with our roll for ships. This is a list of romance questions that we carefully came up with. We will be rolling a D100 to determine the question we answer before we talk about today's couple. Let's roll. 59.
59. Oh, this is a good question. What is an OTP that you have read a lot of fanfics for?
That is easy. OTP meaning...
One true pair.
One true pair.
Yeah, that is so easy answer for me.
What is a couple that you have read a lot of fanfics about?
I think it's there's only two, technically three couples I've done that with, so... And Kaylee, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Because we would bounce fics back and forth between us.
Oh, yeah, we did that so... You know, I still need to finish the Avatar: The Last Airbender AU of Motozushi.
Oh, wow, really?
I
read that one like ages ago. What are you doing?
I started
woman?
reading it, but then I got distracted with other fanfics and other stuff that I still need to finish it.
Well, I think...
And you should read as Kaylee's fanfics of them.
I'm working on it!
You need to make them!
I actually was working on one of them this week.
Which one? You have to tell me right now.
It's the Motozushi and Heaven Official Blessing crossover one.
Which one?
There's only one.
Wait.
That's the one where Shillian gets in a car accident.
Okay, the modern AU. Yeah.
Yeah, the modern AU.
I forgot at first.
I haven't heard about this one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you have to read it.
So I'll let you stimmer in this while we're all talking about fanfics. And maybe this will be the answer to the questions today. We're all communitively read a lot of Heaven Official's Blessing fanfics. So the one I'm writing right now basically has both Motozushi and Tianguan Sifu, or Heaven Official's Blessing. And the idea is Wei Wuxian is charged to exorcise a ghost. And lo and behold, the ghost is Hua Chong, and he kicks Wei Wuxian's ass a few times. And
And Wei Wuxian, of course, doesn't learn and keeps coming back for more.
And Lan Wenji is a doctor, and he was working at an ER when Xie came in after a severe car accident that left him crippled. So,
Damn.
right?
I have not heard about this.
I actually really want to keep working on it. So shush.
Oh,
I am working on it.
One really funny short one you made where Xilian and Qirong
Switch bodies.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Zephyr had a whole kick of a time when I started writing that, because I wrote a little blippet from Qirong's point of view, waking up in bed next to Hua Chong.
I can imagine
what the fuck? And then Hua Chong's like, whoa, what's going on, Guga? He's like, don't you dare fucking call me Guga again. Oh, this is not my...
Oh my god. Well, I read
Yeah.
one fanfic where it was Xilian and Wei Wuxian who switched bodies.
Yes.
And their husbands are very much
Yes.
not happy.
I read that one too. That one was way funny.
That one was good.
One that I enjoyed was it was more Modao Zushi, but like 100 instead of 13 years, it was 1300 years that he waited
I
for.
think I showed you it because Wei Wuxian reincarnated in the modern era.
Yes.
Yeah, I was the one that sent you that fic.
And we watched that sort of picture videos. I wish I knew who did the art because that was beautiful work.
It was beautiful. I don't remember either, so we'll have to talk about this and continue our discussions off mic when we're not supposed to be talking about Howl's Moving Castle here in a minute, because this is not our Heaven Official's Blessing episode or Modao Zushi.
This is just a snippet, a very, very like small fraction of what we'll be getting into when we get there.
I already plan on our Heaven Official's Blessing one being 4 hours of recording time.
It will be absolutely feral, y'all.
So, Juno, what's the most
What's the fanfic, the couple that you've read a lot of fanfics of?
It's the same answer as y'all. Xilian and Hua Chong from Heaven's Official's Blessing. It's now in the 900s.
You've read 900?
Over 900, yes. I
Holy
just checked my AO3.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, their dynamic is perfect because they're both male wives, pretty much.
I think, honestly, you can find... The thing I love about Hua Chung and Xilian when you're looking up fanfics is you can find a variety that is smut, fluff, angst, everything in between. And that's what I
There's
love.
so many good. That's why I've
Because-
read so many.
Yeah, I'm not a huge smut girl. I really am not. You know, that's the ace in me. But I found so many fics that satisfy my little angst author heart so much. I love
Angst
it.
ones kill me, though.
Especially with these two, because they are one of the true OTPs I have. And it's like when they're hurting, I'm like, no, they got enough of that in the canon.
Oh my gosh. There's one more fanfic I'm going to bring up. Hua Chong as kind of like on the seashore working in the docks, handyman or doing whatever.
Oh, and
Xilian and Merman.
Yes. Oh,
I've read a couple of those too. God damn it, y'all. We're going to have like a fanfic exchange after this. We're going to be like, that one you talked about, bring it to me now. And then my number in the 900s is going to go up, and I know it. And I keep thinking to myself, I really need to read more Modao Zushi ones, because they're another one I really want to read tons of fanfics for, but I am so hooked deep in Heaven's Official's Blessing fanfics. I'm just like, how do I get out of here to enjoy some Modao Zushi? Because I'm like at the bottom of this hole and I am not climbing out.
Now, our fellow shippers, it's time to talk about our couple, Howl and Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. Oh my gosh.
okay. Do you want to know the funny thing?
What?
I asked my mom what she thought of this couple because she's seen Howl's Moving Castle, but she is not a huge anime person, right?
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, I do not like this couple because Howl fell in love with Sophie when she was old. And I was like, no, Mom, I hate to break it to you. You forgot like half of the movie. So they're lighthearted thing to start our conversation off with.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she forgot about half of the movie. Yeah.
Yep. She's like, the first time he saw her was when she was old and wrinkly. I'm like, no, there was multiple scenes before that.
Well, there was that one where he walked that had a nice stroll through the sky with her.
Yep. So, there's a lot more, but I thought it was funny. My mom was immediately like, no, I'm creeped out. And then when I explained it to her, she was still like, ee. So we already know someone who doesn't ship them. So if you...
Damn. That should be at the end, y'all.
Started out hard. All right. Appearances. Let's see. Sophie with her changing of color hair between brown and white versus Howl and his multicolors of blonde, orange, green, black. Am I missing any?
It went from orange to red to black, I thought.
No, orange, red, but then when it was transferring to red to black, it turned green.
Oh, I thought it
was like
red.
a little rainbow there.
It switched all sorts of different colors. And she's like, oh, it looks so much better now. You should look at yourself in the mirror now.
But
and
we all have to admit, the orange was not very complimentary.
No, the orange was pretty bad. But I actually
And then he dresses up. Not too long after that scene, guess how he disguises himself? Orange hair.
No!
As the king or whatever.
That's actually a cute correlation I didn't catch.
But at least he has the face of the king and not his own face.
That's true. It's much more flattering on the king than it was on Howl.
But, I mean, when we first see Howl, that pretty blonde hair, and then he's wearing that stylish pink and blue coat that's over his nice little outfit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Sophie's wearing her, I don't know, old lady hat.
Yeah.
Yep. Her more, I don't want to say this, but peasant clothes is kind of more so, middle to lower class outfit.
Yeah, she wears more plainer, like older clothes than usually what her age group would wear. Compared, like when you think about the other girls in the shop in the beginning scene, like when they're about to leave, and look at what they're wearing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess not old lady hat, but like just the way she styled, like how she like pulled it down too to like cover her face, like no sun on my face. I'm too old for this shit.
No, she definitely is hiding behind the hat for a lot of it.
And then just, the common, brown hair and eyes. But I thought it was a good look for her because, like, when you think about it at the beginning, like, she has, like, those more warm tones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so does Howl. But at the end, they come more cool colors, those cool tones with her white hair and his hair is black. And it's like they transition from warmth to cool.
Let's see. Very self-conscious. That's one thing they have in common.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Turning from very self-conscious, hot-tempered, or full of themselves to cool, loving.
No, so the personality, I think it's so interesting how much it changes over the movie because it's so hard to cover a full length of a story in a movie. Honestly, a lot of anime that we've been covering is, 30 plus episodes of growth that they have, right? This is 2 hours, so there's very little for them to work with. So, with this couple, there's a significant height difference as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are closer to the same height, but I definitely noticed that Howl is quite a bit taller than Sophie.
Especially when she's old.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a completely different story.
Because she also has a hunchback going on.
Yeah, she has a hunchback going on for her. So,
poor girl.
Yeah. But I love the comment of the cool or the warm to cool colors because I agree. They're much more like vibrant and lively at the beginning. And it kind of mellows out a lot throughout the story. And I love the cooler colors. I love the look that they have at the end of the story versus the beginning.
Especially like in that last scene too. I don't know. I love how in that final scene with Howl and Sophie, like she's wearing yellow and he's wearing pink, like colors that pop too. So it's like we kind of got back some of that warm tone too, even though their hair colors are now in the cool shades.
Yeah.
What I actually love though about like Sophie and Howl's like first introduction to each other, you know, she's on the way to the bakery to visit her sister. And she's in the back alleyways to avoid the parade that's going on, celebrating the soldiers heading off to war. And she runs into two soldiers who are like, oh, look, it's a cute little mouse who got lost. And she's like, no, leave me alone. Like, I'm not interested. It's like, no, come on, let's go get like a drink or something. Spend time with us. But then I love how he slides in smoothly and is like, there you are, sweetheart. I was looking everywhere for you. And
he was.
Yeah. And then they're like, hey, you know, and he's just like, oh, you guys were just leaving, right? And then he has them march off, like, and they're both like, hey.
So I feel like this is kind of a semblance of, you guys need to disappear because this is the person that I'm meant to be with. And I've been looking for, you know, most
years
of my life. So you guys can just get out of here. You guys are irrelevant. Get out of here, you know? That kind of sass and attitude.
But I cannot imagine his like internal enthusiasm that he finally found her. Then he's like, let me escort you, you know, where are you going? And then of course that tells her, I'm being followed.
Don't be alarmed, but I'm being followed. I figured you might just need to know that. I'm surprised Sophie didn't freak out.
Well, she was, but she like was like, okay, you know, grabbed onto his arm and they were walking together, and then he's like, and then he apologizes to her when the blob men start showing up. He's like, I'm sorry that you're involved now. Like he wasn't trying to, but
yeah. No, there's a lot in this first little bit. You know, it's one of the shortest periods of time where Hal and Sophie are together, but I think it speaks so much to both of their personalities and their growth that eventually will happen.
But then, I don't know. Of course, you know, everybody loves a scene then when to escape the henchman of the Witch of the Waste, he propels them into the sky and he's like, you know, stretch your legs and start walking. And she's just like, at first, like, oh my gosh, like we're in the sky. Like, and then they're like, as they're slowly coming down, she starts enjoying it, you know, starts smiling and looking at the ground like, wow, I'm so high up. And he's like, you're a natural. And that little smile they exchange, I'm just like, everyone loves that. Like, It's so cute.
It is.
Honestly, that entire time, though, I just kept thinking, like, don't look up, people. Don't look up. Because her dress is just flying wide open. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
No, but she wears the panties or the...
Yeah, she has the bloomers underneath.
Bloomers, that's what they're called, not panties.
Yeah, the bloomers. She has them underneath.
But still
like... I feel like part of me would have loved it if Hal was a little bit more chivalrous about that and was like, you know, hey, let's be a little bit careful.
At the same time, I guess he couldn't really think of anything else because, you know, they were coming at him from both directions. I mean, it's not like they can go underground.
He could
That's
scoop
true.
her up in his arms.
Yeah, I would have loved a bridal carry. But I think it's so unique that it wasn't a bridal carry because that is the go-to for situations like this. You know, that's the number one trope when it comes to escape situations. Let me scoop you up in my arms and we take off. I love that there is some difference in this.
True.
And then I love how he gently lowers her onto the balcony when they get across. And he's just like, stay inside for a little bit until they, you know, go away. And she's like, okay, you know, smiling at him, just thinking, that was so much fun. He's like, that's my girl. And then jumps off. And I'm just like, oh. Like,
he's a flatterer.
And then like comes to the self-esteem part where it's mentioned more on the background side that how Hal eats women's hearts or will eat your heart. And she's like, he won't eat me. I'm too ugly. He won't eat my heart. I'm too ugly.
Yep. The self-esteem issues for Sophie, I think is so interesting because it played a bigger part in the story than I realized initially. When I was watching it for this podcast, I realized one of the reasons the Wicked Witch of the Waste, you know, bugged Sophie about it was because obviously Howl was with her. But also she made a remark about, wow, you're a tacky little thing in this tacky little shop, you know, and kind of insulting her on the way that she looks and everything before she curses her. I can't imagine how much harm that would do to Sophie's emotional state and everything. Being told, wow, you're ugly as heck before you get turned into an old woman.
I think the Wicked Witch saw how much Howl actually cared for her. And she obviously saw that there's some sort of beauty in Sophie. Man, she obviously sees it like, oh, tacky, what does he see in you? But because he sees something in you, I'm gonna curse you to make you look worse than you already are.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Witch of the Waste picked up on that so fast within just like those, like maybe a few minutes that they were together.
Yeah.
Just like his consideration toward her, like escorting her, getting her out of danger, saying, that's my girl, you know, just like all of that. Like immediately she probably was also really angry, you know, to see Howl treating another woman like that when they had history, you know, before Howl ran away.
Yep. Yeah.
And then when Sophie, too, is talking to her sister, she's like daydreaming about it because, you know, that was just like, for her. She's like, don't worry about me, Letty. Like, Howl would have never eaten my heart, you know, even if that wizard was Howl because I am not beautiful. And her sister's like, don't say that. Because obviously, you know, people around her see her in greater esteem than, you know, she puts herself.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the sisterly bond there, like the compassion they had for each other. Because Sophie was going there to visit her sister to check on her, to see how she was doing at her job at the bakery. And then her sister, too, goes running to her when she hears Sophie would just lower it to a balcony from the sky. What? And then talks to her about it afterward. And then right before Sophie leaves the bakery, too, is like, do something for yourself, you know, do what makes you happy. Like, don't take on the shop just because you feel like it's your responsibility as the eldest. So I loved seeing that, too.
Yeah.
But then, you know, then Sophie gets cursed and then, of course, decides to leave her home and to find a way to break the curse. And also because she doesn't want to be seen as an old lady, you know, scare the crap out of everyone in the household.
Yeah.
So then ventures to the wastes. And then after helping Turnip Head, he brings Howl's castle to her.
I love Turnip Head so much.
I love when she's just like, that's not what I meant by finding me a place to stay.
I want to mention something because this was what I immediately determined, and my mind kind of changed as I watched the movie. But I had always, whenever I watched Howl's Moving Castle before, I was hyper fixated on Calcifer. Let's be real. He's the best character in the show.
He is one of my favorites.
But this time I focused solely on Sophie and Howl, right? Because we're doing this podcast about them, not Calcifer. Calcifer could go sit in the frying pan. Frying pan! But anyway, I noticed such a change of character almost instantly when Sophie was cursed, before she was cursed, and then when she was. Like, immediately cracking jokes. That did not seem like her character at all. I was, honestly, it was a bit of a whiplash for me. And I don't know whether I love it or hate it, because I'll admit Grandma Sophie is my favorite. I prefer Grandma Sophie over any other Sophie in this show.
But I actually like seeing it, though, because she talks about kind of like how you're old, you know, it kind of changes your perspective on things. Like she likes to look at the scenery more than when you're old and stuff like that. Or like she's becoming quite cunning in her old age as she cackles. Yeah. So it's like I like seeing the humor in Sophie come out.
True. But I wish they would have given a little bit hint of that, because like Kaylee said, complete 180 whiplash, because she had no humor.
Well, I think it also could have been seen as like a coping mechanism, you know, because she was just cursed and she's an old lady and she's venturing alone into the wastes.
I also have something kind of along the same lines. What if she felt like, you know, I had nothing left to lose? I may as well show my more chaotic side, because I feel like there is a very real possibility that Sophie could have been more mellow and, boring, quote unquote, because she was so insecure about herself. and she didn't want to make herself seem worse than she already thought she was coming across as. And so when she was already cursed and, you know, she looks worse than before, quote unquote. So I wonder how much of it plays into it, because I know if I were in her shoes, that would be more of my mentality.
And I can also see it as like her being the eldest and like having the responsibility of like taking over the hat shop, you know, working at the hat shop. Like she would hide pieces of her personality, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we saw at the beginning, she was worked late, felt like she didn't have belong or have time to go with the other women out to eat or drink or whatever. Like, just go out on a night of the town with her co-workers.
Yeah.
She didn't feel like she could do that.
But then I also love seeing the more headstrong Sophie come out too when she's old, because like when Calcifer's like, I am not gonna cook, she's like, we're gonna cook. And she's just like, I will throw a bucket of water in your face. I'm just like, dang, Sophie. And she's like pushing the frying pan at him like, so what's it gonna be? I'm just like, oh.
First threatening him with bucket water and telling
Howl about their deal to break each other's curses.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that that is what brings it out in her, because she does continue to have those more outgoing, funny attitude and personality throughout the rest of the show, obviously, even when she has moments where she's young again. It's one of those curses, but a blessing, I feel like, in that scenario.
Yeah.
Because then Howl comes in, you know, and he's like, Calcifer, you're being so obedient. And then I actually saw a comment somewhere that said that because Calcifer was letting her bully him into cooking, in that sense, Howl was letting her bully his heart.
Oh!
Well, Calcifer is his heart.
Actually, that's a great way of looking at it.
But he knows it's her right away. Like, I kind of love that he just takes a look at her and just is like, he knows.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I love this surprise.
Yeah, coming home to the girl he's been looking for all over in his house, but unfortunately now under a curse. So just like, oh.
There was part of me that like questioned, did he actually know it was Sophie right off the back, or did he just have a guess? It seems like a mix of both.
Well, why I think he knew is, man, every time he met someone who was cursed, like the stick guy.
Yeah, turnip
head. He's like immediately knew they were under a curse. So he knew it wasn't just some old lady.
That's true.
Especially since Calcifer let her in. Like, I can't see Calcifer just letting any random nobody in from the wastes.
Yeah.
And I mean, the resemblance. I mean, the clothes. The hat.
The hat is the giveaway. So, yeah, I guess that is a very fair point. I don't know. It's one of those where I think maybe the way that they had the story, they wanted it to seem like he didn't know until he caught her sleeping and she reverted back to younger Sophie or something.
I think that was a more of a sweet moment that he's like, so you can get reversed, just...
And probably that was more confirmation for him about the kind of curse she's under, because she can't talk about it. So peeking in on her, then he sees she can control it, but it's because of her current, mindset. That's why she appears old when she's awake, but when she's young, obviously she returns to her younger self again.
Yeah.
Then he's like, okay, what kind of curse? And then like his actions later of like trying to help push her back toward, you have a life still ahead of you. You're not old as you think you are. But then you can see her, fluctuating in age. And it's kind of actually amazing. You could see it in the animation. Like for one moment, she's like older, and then suddenly like she's younger, and then she's older again. And then it's like what age group she seems to be. And it's like, dang, they really went all in and showing that the age is fluctuating because of her mindset.
Yeah.
What she's thinking.
I love that aspect.
During her conversation with Solomon, and they were talking, and she's defending Howl.
Yeah, in that moment, she goes full on, back to her
young
the
self.
age she was before the curse was cast on her, like the brown hair and everything.
And right when she got snapped out of it, she goes to her old self again.
A fluctuating age curse. Like, that kind of sucks.
Oh my gosh.
But I love how then they bring out that Howl is very self-conscious about his appearance. Because after, Sophie cleans the house and then reorganizes his bathroom, his potions are all mixed up.
Yeah.
So then he comes out wailing out of the bathroom. Like, running down the stairs. Look what you did to me! Holding his hair and like
my hair!
And like crying.
Yep.
And everyone's just like, oh boy, here we go.
Yep.
And Sophie's just like, it's okay, we can change it back, trying to reassure him. And then he like collapses in the chair and is like, I give up. I don't see the point in living if I can't be beautiful. And those words strike a Sophie like too, because like she has not felt beautiful, like as she says, her entire life. So to hear Howl say that and see how much, he too values his appearance.
Mm-hmm. Sense of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Well, at first, it struck a chord on like, are you fucking kidding me? You're this handsome. You have this one small thing happen that can be fixed where I've been ugly and will always be ugly. And you are giving up that sense of frustration, and she's been keeping it together. But I think after everything that's happened, and then this is just the last straw that I can't. So she leaves, cries, and takes a moment to sort herself out before she is able to go back in and help Howl.
Yeah.
Then I love how she like girds her loins and is like, oh, so much drama, and just is able to push past that, what she was thinking, and then help Howl in that moment, like help him get back up the stairs.
And then the towel. Nose up.
Yep, nose up to the ceiling like nothing happened. But then getting him back in the tub and is like, help him clean up. And then it's like, oh, I have to mop again. Like,
yeah.
And then after he's dressed and put back in his bed, she's checking up on him, watching over him while he's out.
Yeah, and brings him more milk and
trying to be there for him for whatever he needs.
Because I think then in that moment, she understands what he's thinking, like her insecurity, and then seeing that he has that insecurity too, bringing them together, like understanding each other. That's something they have in common. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, he's like, I don't want to go to the palace.
Why don't you go instead?
That brilliant idea of like, oh, you can go and pretend to be my mother and say your son is too cowardly to go fight for the king.
And his like puppy dog expression during that whole scene too. I'm like, this is the dumbest fucking idea ever. Why are you so excited?
That's honestly gives me flashbacks of things that I probably did when I was younger. Yeah.
The slow nodding from Kaylee.
Yep.
Younger?
Oh, shit.
I love you, Zephyr.
But what I also love about that scene, though, right before he proposes that idea, is like he confides a little bit in Sophie about how much magic he's using to hide from everyone because of how scared he is of like all these people hunting him down and using him for his magic and like not wanting to be involved in this war. I liked seeing that vulnerable side of him and him reaching out to Sophie for that moment of...
Well, to put it in perspective, at least from my understanding, it looked like when he was in his demon form fighting the other smaller demons, from what I understood, maybe I'm wrong, it sounded like those other smaller demons were other wizards under the king's rule that can now never turn back to human. But just looking at like his size, the power, he is a very powerful wizard. Mm-hmm. Probably second only to one.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he got a lot of that power from Calcifer and from their deal that they made when he was so young. But yeah, he has that vulnerable side that he finally shows to someone other than Calcifer. Because I don't even think is it Marco? What's the little kid's name?
Markle.
he did, I don't think, showed it much to Markle, because he mentioned once or twice, Howl has only done this once, and he was still like in that little kid, I don't know what to do because my parent figure is freaking out and I'm just a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
So it's so nice to finally see him open up to somebody.
Yeah,
he's
like,
not wanting to be used. He's wanting to be free, and having to hide from anyone and everyone who wants to just use him and his power. Just having to hide it in itself is not him being free. He's trapped.
And honestly, you see that a lot when they move the house near the second half of the story, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sophie's trying her best to make the house away from the hat shop before it got blown to smithereens, right? Because she didn't want Howl to get injured. So
well, he was only fighting right there to protect her and her home.
Yeah. But I thought it was really cute, though, right before she headed out to the palace to be Miss, Pendragon's mother, that he gives her the ring and tells her it will guarantee her safe return.
Mm-hmm.
Because that ring becomes very important later throughout that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then what I love is like Howl's standing there looking like a gremlin, like in like this gigantic blanket and little slippers. Like, this is the most disheveled we've seen him throughout the whole show.
Oh my god.
He did not want to go. He really did not want to go to the palace.
And the fact he's like, Sophie, please. And she's like, you're such a coward.
And she gripes about it quite a bit, too, because she's like, oh, you turned into a dog. You couldn't have turned into anything more useful. And in the end, it's not even Howl that's the dog. It's just...
But of course, he does one bigger than that. The king.
Yeah, the king of all people. Like, maybe someone that was, like, still well in power, but maybe not the king.
Yeah, I don't know why the king of all things.
Probably because it was a safe one, because, I mean, like, no one would attack the king, less likely to attack the king. But when, Madame Solomon attacks Howl, trying to scare off Sophie from his side, like, let's show her what the monster you really are. Sophie's able to bring him back to himself, like calling out to him, it's a trap, and it's enough to break him out of that, to get them out of danger.
And he was, throughout that whole scene, keeping the same face smile, but at the end, you could see that he's definitely losing control, losing to maybe his angers or frustrations or like he's losing to himself. So for her just to call and bring him out,
just her voice alone was enough for him to shake it off.
Mm-hmm.
And take her out of danger just in time.
But just right before we get into like their escape, I want to talk about how when Madame Solomon was trying to convince Sophie, that Howl had to report to the palace, that he had to serve the king. Mm-hmm. And Sophie defends him much so, like saying, now I understand why he was so afraid to come here. Mm-hmm. Like, seeing what you're doing to the Witch of the Wayside, who just came out on a trolley.
Yeah.
As an old woman, like, no wonder. Why would he come here if he knew that he was in danger? Like, if he did not agree to become a monster for the king.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you see his power level difference when he does face off against the wizards who have become monsters for the king in the war. I mean, that's scary, to imagine what kind of monster he would have become.
Well, actually, we do get a glimpse of what type monster at the very end.
Exactly.
We see
so
what
it's
type
like
beast he looks like, and when she's talking to him, gets through to him, and his face is just blank, but her voice is able to bring him back just enough to get him to move to Calcifer.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it shows you, her voice alone is enough to bring him back, and what kind of monster he would have become had he, been forced to do what the king wanted. And also his hesitation to do so, even when he already was doing it enough just to get in the way of the war.
Yeah.
He was participating, but he wasn't fighting for the king.
he wasn't really fighting for either side. He was just, getting involved and trying to protect innocent lives that are being, caught in the crossfire of this war.
And you could see that every time he comes back, it's harder and harder for him to change back.
Even Calcifer calls him out on that, saying, like, if you keep doing this, eventually you will not be able to turn back human. And you can see Howl's struggle to turn back human. And
It does. Like, he's literally changing his bone structure, his body.
to fly and get involved.
That is so many splinters going in with all those feathers retracting.
Ouchie. So I loved how valiantly Sophie defended him, saying, no, he will not come here. And then, of course, Madame Solomon then calls her out on falling in love with Howl. And then, she reverts back to her old self. And you're just like, oh, and Madame Solomon, caught on that fast.
Yeah.
But I love it that after Sophie brings him back to himself, they escape. And as they're flying away, that he tells her that her being there gave him the courage to show up.
That's a big thing for him. He had been running away from everything that scared him. Whether that's being terrified of his own power getting loose, and that's why he didn't go by, or, being terrified of Madame Sullivan and her power, or whatever it is. He was running away, except for when it came to Sophie.
I love that she was enough for him to push past his fear of showing up before Madame Solomon to show up for Sophie and stand at her side. And then, of course, get her out safely. And then, he gives her control of the flying craft and, oh, you're good. I'm terrible. And I control this thing.
Almost crashes, and he's just like, see, I told you, you're good. See you later. Bye.
But then, he uses himself as a distraction so then Sophie can escape with the Witch of the Waste and Heen, the cute little doggy. I love the dog. But then the chaos of her then crashing the flying craft into the castle. And Calcifer's like, she blew up the wall in my face. Like,
Sophie's like, if we get a big enough curtain, we could cover this hole and Hal never has to find out.
And Calcifer's like, no, he's gonna know. I'm gonna tell him.
I'm gonna tell him.
And then Howl just laughs it off. Like, he's like, oh, I know she would have made a great pilot or something like that. Like,
I knew she'd make an entrance, but this is the best.
He was so proud in that moment. But what I love still is he still has the black hair. Like, when you think like of him panicking over the fact he doesn't have his blonde hair, and then he's keeping it. It's like, because Sophie said it looked nice. Is that why you're keeping the natural?
Yeah, I noticed that too, because she said, did you see the mirror? It looks even better now. I wonder if part of that is the reason why his hair didn't continue to change colors.
Yeah,
after that, because it had gone through the rainbow, and then once it like lingered on black a little bit more, so is when she's like, oh, hey, it looks a lot better now.
And it stopped changing. And the house is still melting. He was melting with slime and gug all over and about to drown.
Yeah.
Calcifer. Just one small thing stopped changing.
But then he changes the house to accommodate Sophie when they do their great move. He also then connects it to her house, like the Hatter house. And I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet. Connecting it back to her home, like the hat shop that's so important to her, that her dad cared about. But then giving her own personal room. And then also, of course, accommodating the Witch of the Waste.
He's only accommodating the Witch of the Waste because Sophie brought her back.
So that consideration that he's showing, like that Sophie brought the Witch of the Waste with her. And so, he's opening his home to her, even though she's caused him a ton of grief.
Oh, yeah.
And giving Sophie her own room and getting her new clothes that you can see the presents in her room. And he's like so happy about it. He's like, you can try them on later. He's like, there's something else I want to show you. But then the field of flowers that he takes her to, that meant so much to him. That was like his own little space to study magic and everything that his uncle or something gave him. who was also a wizard, and he's just like, look, this is for you. I'm just like, that's so sweet.
Own safe
So
place.
cute. I think, isn't that the Field of Flowers where they technically met the first time during that
Yes.
too? So I think it's a very symbolic thing for him to also bring her back.
Bring it full circle, like they met
Yeah.
there the first time, even though she doesn't know it yet, and then brings her back.
Well, especially since he thought he was going to die soon, or that he was going to be irreversibly changed due to the war.
And then, the fact that he's considering that, like he's considering the future for Sophie.
And Sophie calls him out on it too.
Yeah, but like also everyone else, like saying like, you can use the flowers here to open a flower shop.
Yeah.
And like this place can also be escape for you. You know, you can enjoy it as well. Like thinking of her future to enjoy things. And he's setting things up for.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I love that while he's showing this grand new place, you could see as a new surprise, she gets younger. Once she recovers from the surprise, she gets old again, and then a new surprise and she gets young again. And it's just like this crazy switch. But once they got to the field, she turned young for quite a while.
I love seeing that, her excitement. And then she's like, it's so beautiful. And she's so excited and she's young.
Yeah.
And the only thing that turned her back to old was then she figured out what he was planning, and it's like, hell no, dude, you're not gonna leave just like that.
Yeah.
But what breaks my heart about that moment too is like saying like, let me be of help to you. But then she gets really insecure and is like, even though I'm not very beautiful or that, you know, I can't do much. I still want to help you. But then Howl tells her that she's beautiful. And like coming from Howl, who, you know,
Values beauty so much.
like in himself and like what he has and everything around him, like that's significant.
Oh, yeah.
And saying that she's beautiful.
Well, and she loved him by this point, obviously. So
Yes.
hearing that from the one you love too is so
Important.
I don't want to say empowering. Is that what you said? Or what did you say?
Important.
Important. Well,
That
I was thinking
empowering
more
would be good,
empowering.
too.
Yeah, it's more empowering to her self-esteem issue, you know, that she's been having this entire time. To have somebody you really look up to and love so much tell you you're beautiful is a really big thing.
Yeah, because especially like her reassurance to Howl, you know, that, you know, your hair looks good, you know, and he's kept it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the shenanigans of Howl interfering with the warship. And then he's like, now we gotta fly.
Yeah.
I love the chaos. And she's just like, you know, holding on for life. Like, don't let go, don't let go.
And then he throws her in the house, just like, okay, get in there.
Like, and she's like, I'm too old to be treated like this. But then, like, the fact that changed too, like, she was so young a moment ago, you know, the age that she was. And then just like all of that in her mind, you know, obviously changes then her mindset. And so the curse, you know, reverted her back to the old stage again.
There's so much to the rest of this now that I think about it. Like,
Yeah, because especially since we knew by then that Sophie was in love with Howl, because then the Witch of the Waste calls her out on it after that whole scene of like, you've been sighing all day, you're in love. And then Sophie goes back to the bed and sits there and she's like, aha, I knew it.
Yep.
You know? And she's like, have you ever been in love? And of course, the Witch of the Waste ruins the moment and is like, oh, yes, the hearts of young men are so satisfying or whatever she says. And she's like, you're terrible. Like,
yeah.
but for that moment, like having someone else confirm it for Sophie too, that she has feelings for Howl, another big moment for her.
Oh, yeah. Especially a love, not necessarily a love rival, but a former lover of Howl's in a way, you know?
Well, they were, which is, you know, kind of creepy when you look at her and you're just like, run. No wonder Howl ran.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him. But it's one thing coming from a complete stranger that supposedly was like Howl's caretaker, and the person who cursed you to look old and frail and be old and frail, and was also, you know, a former lover. That's kind of insane, honestly.
That
It's
two
crazy.
people by this point have confirmed Sophie's feelings for Howl because they noticed, they caught on right away.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, Howl disappears, you know, because he's getting involved in the war again. And Markle's like being so sweet, like, it's okay, Master Howl disappears for a few days at a time, normally like this.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then this whole time, Sophie is very worried about Howl because, you know, the last thing she saw of him was, you know, facing off against the warships and they were pursuing him. And then his next appearance is then he is on a bomb headed toward the shop. Like, ah!
Yeah, her panic is warranted. But can we just talk about the fact that Sophie both felt and was confident enough, basically taking over Howl's position in the house, scooping Calcifer out of the fire, taking him out of the house, and then, you know, kind of throwing Calcifer back in and being like, okay, get us there, you know, and all of these things that Calcifer was like, that's only Howl. Howl's the only one that can do this. And she's like, yeah, no, watch me. I love that.
Again, goes into that only Sophie's allowed to bully Howl's heart.
Yeah.
She's the only one who can control or have his heart, which says a lot.
Yeah, but after, you know, Howl lands in the courtyard with the bomb that did not go off, and Sophie runs to him, so relieved that he's alive, and tells him as such, and clinging to him, burying her face in his chest, like, oh, thank goodness, like the last time I saw you, you were being chased, and then you turn up just in time to save us all, you know, because Calcifer was too weak. So I feel like then that whole time, too, Howl must have been scrambling to get there, because he probably felt how weak Calcifer was.
Which comes to make me think is Calcifer is his heart, or has his heart.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how much does he feel that heart?
I'm pretty sure he must have known, because, I mean, after he rescues Sophie and takes her back in the house, the first thing he goes to is Calcifer. Because surely he can sense, because he's, you know, out of it. He's not really responding to anybody and is able to revive him. And then, of course, you know, takes the cigarette from the Witch of the Waste, who, whatever that was, like some sort of drug in the air to like weaken Calcifer or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to get rid of those threats.
Well, it first weakened him because she threw that bug into the fire, which is good that she got rid of that thing. But that initially also hurt Calcifer, and then with her smoking just made it worse.
Yeah, and you would think, like,
that
after
drug.
she disposed of the bug, you wouldn't use anything in that bag. Like, why would you then use the cigarette?
Yeah.
But then, like, also thinking, like, how clever that was, too, like, from Madame Solomon to have Sophie's mother leave a bag just with the perfect contents, you know, to weaken Calcifer. So they could find the house, because like all those henchmen crawling around on those houses, like, ooh, creepy bug things, like how horrifying that is. Because originally it was the Witch of the Waste, but then after, you know, obviously the Witch of the Waste's danger level went down significantly, and then suddenly now it's Madame Solomon pursuing them, just like they can't get a break, y'all.
Yeah, no. And I have to question, did they get a break after all of this went down too? You know, we'll talk about the end of the story, but I don't think they did. Honestly, I could foresee a lot more running and hiding for them, just given the fact that Howl is so powerful.
I think they definitely had that. Still had to be careful, but he had more freedom than he had before and was more happy because his place became more of a home. When you first see his castle, it was a complete mess, a dump. Like, there was no love in that home. But after Sophie came, she turned a house into a beautiful home.
Mm-hmm.
She became a very important member of the family, too, like to Howl, but then also to Markle, you know, who, like, Howl was his only parental figure, but who would leave him for days on end because of the war.
Yeah.
But then Sophie comes in and just like takes him under her wing and mothers him, which he very much needs. And you can see how attached he gets to her so fast, like clinging to her, pleading with her not to leave.
Yeah.
So she definitely becomes, you know, the mother of the household.
And at first he's like, "What are you doing here? Get away, get out.
Yeah,
we don't
what's
need
Grandma
or want
doing
you."
here? Yeah, because I love that, like how important Sophie has become to Howl, because right before he takes off again to join the battle, after he ensures their safety by reviving Calcifer, he tells her that he's done running away, that he has found someone to protect her, that she has become, the center of his world, that he wants to protect her and keep her safe for the future also of everyone else in the house too. And so then he sprints off to deal with the threat, and she's like, no, come back. But then I love how she takes charge, that headstrong attitude that she has comes out again, and she's like, we need to separate from this house.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get out of here so Howl can not feel like he needs to protect this home. Get himself out of danger. So then, that's when she goes and is telling Calcifer, I'm getting you out of here. Let's go. And scoops him up. And he's like, crazy lady with the shovel.
Don't do this. You can't. Only Howl can. And she's like, no, we need to get out of here. If we stay here, we're just going to cause Howl more harm because he also has to stay here to protect. It's not worth protecting a building.
Yeah.
As long as they get out, that's what's important. And so I love that she's just like, nope, we're going. And then he's just like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Make sure I go out last. And he's like totally panicking.
Yeah.
Like at the end, that let me go out last also shows just how much Calcifer has grown to care about her.
Yeah.
True. Because he's just like, I don't want, this to end badly. Like the castle may collapse. Like, make sure I go out last. And then, kaboom, down goes House.
Yeah.
But then I love her encouragement of like, no, you need to get us to Howl. Like, you need to show him that we are not attached to the house anymore.
She's giving Calcifer like that reassurance too. I've never seen a mightier demon or whatever, and stuff like that to kind of boost his ego a little bit, which I think also plays into the fact that it is Howl's heart. I feel like any compliment that she would to give to Howl, he'd be, boosted up just like Calcifer was like, she said I was Sparky or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was.
I like your spark.
I like your spark.
He's so happy.
And they were doing it. They were doing good. And of course, that 2-year-old somehow figured out about Howl's heart.
Well, I guess it's also hard to hide because it was right there, like beating on the heart. Like it was right,
True.
Yeah. So we should have buried it. Let's be real.
I don't know if Sophie really understood it was Howl's heart. She probably just thought it was the catalyst to keep Calcifer there.
At first, but when she finally figured it out, but it seems like
it was a minute too late.
At first, the Wicked Witch figured it out before her and is like, this is mine, he's mine. But she should have just let that witch burn, honestly.
That was rough to watch because, how many times like Calcifer had said throughout the show to Sophie, like, if I die, Howl dies, like we're connected.
Yeah.
And to be careful. But then in that moment, she doesn't even think. She throws a bucket of water on the Witch of the Waste to stop her from burning. And then there's that moment where she stands there, at which I think it sinks in, oh my God, I just threw water on Calcifer. What if I hurt Howl?
Yeah, what if Howl is dead now because of this?
And then, the whole thing breaks apart, which is kind of amazing that Sophie made it to the bottom unharmed.
She would have broken a couple of bones at the very least.
Sometimes I actually wonder if it was Heen, because he's a magical dog, and he leapt to her right before they fell.
That's true.
That is fair. I wish they made it more apparent, though.
I think, if anything, it was Heen who kept her safe in the fall. Because why else would you throw yourself willingly into danger like that? That he launched into her arms right before they fell.
Mm-hmm.
And after they finished their collapse, he helped her find Howl. I mean, she had that ring, but he helped her find him.
He gave
and
the motivation
to get moving. Because like the ring lit up, and then he got her attention. Like, hey, like, pay attention. The ring is glowing and the door is there,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I always think it's so freaking cute after Sophie goes through the door. He like panics from her, like he's like running in circles, like I don't know what to do. Okay, I'll go in after you. Like, But I wonder, it's like, what magic made it possible for then Sophie in that moment to be able to go back to the future? Like the perfect portal to go back to see the moment that Howl and Calcifer made their deal all those years ago.
I wonder if Howl changed the black door.
It's very possible.
Because he changed all the colors to different locations, except for one, the main door, to the castle, the actual door. But there's a good chance that after he changed the house, did he ever use that black door again?
I don't think he did.
So there's a chance that when he changed the house, I wonder if it was a much bigger spell because he also created that portal.
I wonder if Calcifer had any influence on it. Because Calcifer wanted to break this curse, right?
Yeah.
And so it's one of those, I wouldn't be surprised if Calcifer had a bit of a part in it.
And at this point, Hal is smart enough to know that just from her looks and how things are, yes, he found her, but when he found her, it wasn't the female that could save him yet.
Mm-hmm.
She will, but she just can't save him yet.
Yeah, and that's another aspect of it that I'm sure played a part in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like him and Calcifer together creating the portal that she would need to save them. But then I love that how she comes out of the dark into that moment where she needs to be and witnesses this. Like sees him walking in the field and so runs closer to see what's happening. Like that's, young Howl. And sees them make the deal. And then swallows Calcifer. I'm like, damn.
And pulls
out his heart.
Yeah.
But then that ring breaks. And the fact that he trusted her, like she calls out to him and says, find her in the future. She knows how to help him now. Like the fact that then he spent years looking for Sophie.
Mm-hmm. I would not be surprised if at first he's a kid who just made this powerful deal. Maybe at first he didn't think of it as an issue or didn't think about it or see it as, oh, I should find her. But once it started to show that, hey, this is a curse that I need to be saved, he starts looking for her.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know if he ever thought of it as a curse. It was more Calcifer who did.
I guess curse isn't the right word for him, but it gave a wonder at first that what she said, he got something's been happening that he's like realized, hey, I'm in trouble with it. I'm scared. I've been running for so long. I need help. And in my memory, this woman said, come find me. I know how to save you.
I wouldn't be surprised if he realized kind of the deeper meaning of it once he realized what was happening to all the wizards when they reported to the king.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that was more recent in the timeline or back, 5 years before the story starts, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if that plays a major role in him being like, okay, I think now is the time to go find this Sophie.
Now I'm curious on by the time he chose to find Sophie to when he actually found her, how long did it take? How long was he searching? Because it gives the impression that he's been searching for a long time.
But how long is a long time?
Because I get the impression like the reason he's a womanizer is because he's been looking for her for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, at least a couple of years. Because obviously, from a child to an adult. And then
your memories, it's hard to remember what someone exactly looks like until you see them again. So.
But that's what I really love is that she calls out to him to find her in the future, that she knows how to save him. Then the moment he finds her, he goes, there you are, sweetheart. I've been looking everywhere for you.
Another theory, is that they mentioned that he had another breakdown like that when a woman rejected him.
Yeah.
Or broke up with him. So I'm curious, was that woman look similar enough to Sophie or who was this woman? Because it clearly was not that witch.
I wonder if maybe it wasn't a case of he got rejected by the person. Maybe that was the excuse he used to help the little kid understand what was going on. Maybe it was a desperation of, I failed again to find her.
That could also be it, like him being depressed that he maybe thought the woman was Sophie, but she wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then there was that moment of despair, because then maybe how he had been looking for her for years at that point, and it was just feeling, fruitless, because he had not gotten to the point where he, had actually found her.
Yeah.
And of course, actually at this point, he didn't know her name either.
No.
Yeah, no. Well,
wait, did she call
I think she said, "It's me, Sophie. Come find me in the future." So I think he did.
Oh, he did know her name. Okay, then.
Yeah.
But how many people are named Sophie?
True. And when he saw her, she had silver hair. She didn't have brown hair.
She didn't have brown hair, so...
She had silver short hair. So for her to have brown long hair is quite the difference.
Speaking of that, we didn't talk about the fact that Calcifer ate her hair to sustain and give him power.
Oh, enough power to move the house
without Howl being there.
Yeah, without Howl.
It also can speak volumes of Howl's feelings for her.
Mm-hmm. That she's able to make his heart continue going.
Mm-hmm.
Then Sophie returns to the present, and Howl is waiting for her outside the door.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cute how, it's just funny how she has, unbury his face from the mess of feathers and then apologizes to him for having him wait so long. Aww. And then gives him a kiss. I was like, Hal's not really all there with it, Sophie.
Yeah, not now. You need to get that fire back to him. You don't need to give him kisses right now.
There he is, a complete stone monster, but with her voice, just in his actions to move, tells that he's hearing her.
Mm-hmm.
Then they finally return to the rest of the group. And what I like about that scene is, Sophie gets the heart back from the Witch of the Waste by being kind. She doesn't try to rip it from her hand. She goes to her and hugs her and says, please give it back.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't using harsh words. She isn't yelling at her for what she did. She's just being kind and pleading with her with gentle words to please give the heart back.
Yeah.
And it moves the Witch of the Waste that she does give her the heart back.
I think that speaks volumes, because I know for a fact if I were Sophie, bam, right in the face, I would have punched her. I would have not been happy. I would have, honestly, given the fact that this Witch of the Waste had made Sophie's life very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I just think it's so cute how Calcifer's I'm free, and runs away after she restores Howl's heart.
1 minute later, comes back. Well, it looks like it's gonna rain, so I thought I'll stay a little longer.
I love Calcifer.
Cute little Calcifer. But I love how Howl sits up after he gets his heart back. It was like, oh, I feel terrible.
That's so heavy.
That's the cost of having a heart.
A heart's a heavy burden.
See, I was like, okay, this is a sweet moment. And then they threw all of those cheesy lines that you've heard way too many times. And I'm like, okay, this has ruined the moment for me. But it also speaks volumes to the fact that, after all of this turmoil and struggle and, Sophie's back to being young at this point, she's still keeping that lighthearted, spirited attitude that she had towards Howl when she was Grandma Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being more shy and reserved, so much had changed and grown, and it's so awesome to see how it ended.
Yeah, and then finding out apparently the prince was her true love, that it was true love's kiss that broke his curse when she gave him a kiss after he saved them. And then Sophie turns away from him and goes to Howl and is just are you okay? And he's like, your hair is like starlight. It's so beautiful. And she's like, and then she full on tackles him. It's so pretty, the hair. I love it. And then Markle's like, ah! like all excited.
This poor prince is like, yeah, the woman I love is tackling another man right after turning me into a human.
And it's true love's kiss that broke his curse. And then, his true love is on the ground with another man hugging him rather than him.
Honestly, it feels unwarranted, but I actually think that twist is one of the funniest things for me because I hate the trope of true love's kiss. I hate it with every ounce of my soul. Because it just does not scream healthy to me 9 times out of 10 when it's portrayed, because 9 times out of 10 it's I met you not that long ago and suddenly I'm in love with you and you're everything I ever needed. I love when they debunk that trope.
I just met you 5 minutes ago and we'll live ever happily ever after with no worries because we're in love.
Yeah, no, I hate it. So I love the fact that this kind of gets thrown back in his face. I feel bad for the prince, though, but it's still kind of funny to see it.
Yeah, that would be rough. But again, I love that tackle hug when he's like, your hair looks like starlight. I don't know why, but that was one of my favorite scenes between them. Just like that she totally takes him down.
Yeah.
It's so freaking cute. I don't know. And then, it's like, what were you guys doing that made, Witch of the Waste clamp her hand over Markle's eyes? But just like, you guys are being mushy. But I love it.
The fluff.
The fluff.
PDA
I needed some
is
fluff.
not for kids.
Yep.
I
PDA.
needed the fluff there at the end, though, y'all. I love how then they changed the castle to be a flying one.
Oh,
Like at the end there, I'm just like, I love that because it's like, for me, that was symbolizing Howl's freedom, that he could go where he wanted to go now, that he could take to the skies, but no longer as a bird. Like he didn't have to fight as a little, I don't know what to call it, like someone who was
he looked
not on
like
either
a
side.
sparrow with the human face, but like for some of the scenes, my thoughts was like some sort of sparrow or raven or something like that.
But yeah, if I ever saw a bird with a human face, oh my God, get me out, run.
You and me both, you and me both.
Like, hell no.
Alrighty, captains.
Wait.
Oh, no,
One more moment.
Okay, one moment.
But the final kiss, we have to talk about it. But I love the closure of like that they're a happy family. That the Witch of the Waste is watching Marco play with Heen, the dog, in that little front yard thing they created. But then Howl and Sophie are off like enjoying the view, looking at the distance. And then she turns to him and they share a kiss. Like it's like, yes, they're together.
I love the happy ending with the family too, especially since, I can never remember the stupid kid's name. What is his name? Markle. Markle became kind of their child in a way, it's the one that they're both raising together. And just like we've brought up a couple times before, Howl was his father figure and now Sophie is his mother figure. I think it's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the unfortunate grandmother figure. So everyone, why is she the one watching him? Like,
honestly, I think Sophie's too nice for her own good.
but I love them just all flying off together, like, again, showing that they all have a future together, that the things will continue, and Howl and Sophie are officially together.
Yeah.
Leaving what was ever crap left over from that useless war behind.
Yeah.
And creating a family together, creating a life together.
Most definitely.
It's a good, satisfying ending.
It is a really satisfying ending in that sense.
Yeah.
All right, captains. It's time for the tropes. Juno, would you like to go first?
Sure. So my first trope is official couple ordeal syndrome. The story's official couple go through absolute hell throughout the story. They're in the middle of a war. Sophie is cursed to be old, being hunted by the Witch of the Waste, and then Madame Solomon. They are also in the center of the war at the end. And then they also bring the war to an end by finding the prince and just all of it, all the bumps up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the whole story. So then their own personal drama as well. So yeah, they go through it.
No, I definitely think this, honest to goodness, this ship almost matches every single ship that we've covered in this show or in this podcast thus far.
But for the better.
But
maybe.
Well, I mean,
not fully, but
I think this couple is a good one to talk about it because in a movie format, there's a lot of shit that goes on for a movie.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll do this one. Love redeems. Someone is made a better person through the power of love.
Yep.
Yep. This is a very cliche one that I will say I am not a huge fan of this ship or this that ship. I'm tired too, Zephra. This trope, because it's often used too much. I feel there's a certain level of healthy boundaries when you're in a relationship of things that you should and shouldn't change about yourself. Because if somebody's forcing you to change too much, that's...
I don't think that is a problem, though, with this ship. No, because they help bring... they help turn each other into the best versions of themselves. I
agree. And that's where I was going with this, too, is, Howl becomes less obsessed about having to be that perfect person and, kind of opening up his heart to another person. And Sophie, obviously, her self-esteem issues are a big thing that has changed, as well as I feel like, again, her reclusive, shy personality also changes a lot through this. So.
Seduction-proof marriage.
Oh, goodness.
When two people are so in love and committed to each other, no seducers can steal them away from each other. And you can definitely see throughout the movies, Solomon, the witch, the war tried to pull them away from each other, but they clung fast. One kept running after the other.
This definitely plays a part with the poor prince at the end that we've talked a lot about.
I'll get to that, but yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely, again, I think it's a show of dedication, that trope is. I'm so dedicated to this person that nothing could make me change my mind. And I love that. I'm actually a sucker for that trope. I love it.
And then I have rescue romance. Falling in love with someone who saved your life.
I was looking for that trope on my section of the list because I'm like, this is perfect for it. Where is it? Where is it? So I'm glad you brought it. Because yes,
I have it. Because in the instance of Sophie, Howl rescues her from the soldiers, even though it wasn't a huge rescue, but they were making her uncomfortable and pushing her boundaries, and he comes to her rescue. And then he also rescues her from the henchmen of the Witch of the Waste when they come after them. And then he also saves her in different scenarios throughout the movie. But in the end, then Sophie saves his life by returning his heart to him from Calcifer. They save each other.
Okay. Declaration of protection. This is going to go with the same as yours, Juno, except for I found it more with Sophie. That declaration of, come find me, I will save you. I know how to heal you. That's such a big moment in the show. So I feel like this trope is such a big part of the show, too.
Or when she's trying to protect Howl by pulling them out of the castle, to separate them so Howl doesn't have to protect the shop anymore.
Yeah, there's so many moments where Sophie, normally it's the guy vowing to protect the damsel in distress, but I love that it's kind of reversed because that's not as common.
But I still love that Howl did tell her that she was someone he wanted to protect.
Oh, yeah. And he definitely is with the ring and everything. It's another declaration of protection. There's a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of them in this show, and I like it.
Oh, it's so good. Cute. So happy together. A tragedy strikes right as a pair of lovers have a happy moment with each other. AKA the Garden of Flowers. They make a new home. She's happy. She's young. And there's the bad news.
Yeah, and then
he's
there's-
going off to fight
Again.
instead of trying to stay with her. He's like, I'm done running. I'm gonna go fight.
Yep.
It makes me sad too because he had just literally created their new home for themselves and their new family together, and then he has to leave
Yep.
because of the war. Like he isn't able to stay with them. I'm like, poor Howl.
Yeah.
Now for the big moment of truth. Captains, what is your vote on today's couple? Do we ship it or sink it?
I ship it on a flying castle in the sky, piloted by Calcifer.
I will say this. Coming into this recording session, I was ready to say that I do not ship this couple because there was a couple of things that I kind of was more frustrated about and not happy with. But I think talking about it and breaking it down a little bit more made me realize just how cute and perfect for each other they were. So yes, I do ship Sophie and Howl.
I agree. They will go flying through the sky with
Calcifer?
not Calcifer.
I mean, they will be with Calcifer.
He is still flying around and causing more trouble, but with Sophie at the helm and everyone having fun. Fun.
Quote unquote.
Then like random citizens below are like, why do we hear all these random screams from the sky above us?
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed listening to us talk about your favorite ships, leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to. You are also welcome to send any couple recommendations or questions for our role for ships to our email, battleshipspod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Next time, episode 10, Ryuji and Taiga in Toradora.